We've noticed a change in this, haven't we?
What's important, I think, for us to really look at is consumer behavior.
That's how we react as humans. We want it fast, we want it now.
And if you're still using the same marketing tactics, the same messaging, the same approach to that consumer from 10 years ago, you're missing out.
The consumer out there is thinking, there might be a better alternative.
We've found the institutions, we've brought them together in one place. And all of a sudden, you're instantly going in with 6, 7 offers, telling the person who wants to sell their house that I have 6, 7 offers right now. Hey there, friends. We are back with the Real Estate Consumer Shift. I am Jason Wells, here with my compadre,
Tim Evans.
And Tim, you know what? Of late, we've been really thinking about ways to speak to consumers. And that's what we really put this podcast together about was how do we message to them? How do we resonate with them? And something I think that would be good for us to talk about today is how do you craft a message that will get a response?
An offer.
Yes, an offer, right?
Something of that nature. I think I'm excited because this is the Real Estate Consumer Shift. This is going to be
this is right where it comes down. This is where it comes down to it. This is how you get into that psychology. And you know, well, I'll start off, I think, with saying people in the real estate industry, we are all trained on using our value proposition as our differentiator, and that you need to have a call to action, a CTA. A call to action looks like, hey, give me a call, message me about this, right? You don't just tell them something, give them directions to what to do. Well, we now need to understand how to craft an offer. And an offer is not a call to action. And I think this gets confused a lot. When people are thinking about an offer isn't, hey, I will make you a CMA, or which is a current market analysis. I won't do a valuation on your home. Those aren't real offers. You're offering something, but nobody cares. And so it's not an offer that anyone will respond to. An offer, when you do what we call a MOFR, something that you're going to make an offer for immediate response. When you do one of these, you have to have an offer for what we would call a product, program, or service. And then you're going to close the deal with your value proposition. So we're not saying the value proposition is needed, but the consumer doesn't care. The consumer doesn't care that you're the best realtor in the neighborhood. The consumer doesn't care that you've sold more houses, that you know the process, that you know all this stuff. The consumer cares that I don't have to have showings. The consumer cares that I can pick my closing date. The consumer cares that you're going to make this simple and easy for me and that I'm going to get the most money. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. And I think in a realm to an offer can be broad in range, but when you start specifically solving certain problems, situations, things that really benefit whatever the need is out there, now you're cooking with grease, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
And it's exactly that. You're solving a problem. When you offer, quote, offer out there that, hey, contact me, I'll do a home valuation for your property. It's not an offer because nobody's out there going, I wish an agent would post on Facebook that they want to do a home value for me, right? To practice their skills. It doesn't happen. But they are sitting there trying to figure out, how am I going to be able to buy this house and not move twice?
Exactly. And I think with our platform as people, as we've shared in previous podcasts, what we do have and is available is a instant cash offer product that brings multiple cash offers to the consumer. Just to step back a little bit so people understand what direction we're going within this segment. But the offer itself, we were talking about this, Jason, is if you put it out there, you have multiple cash offers or you have cash offers at market value, many times the consumer, and this is about the consumer, this is what we are talking about, won't respond to that offer. Even with the call to action, it's missing a piece of it. It's missing a little bit of an ingredient to it, right?
They're missing that piece that speaks to them. And in our society now, that's what we look for. We look for the message that speaks to us. We filter out all this noise. There's so much noise, so much messaging coming at you that the stuff that your reticular activator, that part of your brain that hears the things that are important to you, that you're looking for, grabs onto is when it is about your situation, about what you need. And so by having a product like our multiple cash offer platform as an example, you can craft multiple offers for that. The product that you're going to give them, really what we're giving them isn't just multiple cash offers. It's ease, it's convenience, it's certainty, it's speed. Those are the things that they're actually getting. But the product is multiple cash offers. So the offers on that get built from there. And you've had a good example of this a few times that we've talked about as to how you differentiate that offer that is for everybody, that's just kind of vanilla, like I got a home value,
and
to the one that really needs it.
Yeah. And everybody, you can go on Google, it's type in sell your home, whatever city you're in, and you'll see all the cash offers magically appear. We've said that on other segments. So the message is skewed when you just deliver the same message out there. Like you said, a bunch of noise, that reticular activator piece. I want to go back to that. It's not hitting home.
That's right.
So you want that response. You want that response from the offer. And for example, if you're a landlord and you have tenant, but you would like to cash out your equity and go do something with it, maybe you're trying to put a child through college, or you just want to go do something else. That would be a great ad. Specifically, as sell your rental home, don't disturb the tenants, cash your equity out at market value, and it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. But keep the tenants happy. And that's the biggest fear, is the tenant.
And that's their pain point. Is I've got a tenant, I won't be able to have any showings. So the offer becomes one to that pain point for that person. The person's pain point is I can't have showings. It's too much of a pain. Sell your house with no showings. Cash out today, right? Cash out in a week, whatever it is. But that becomes your offer. You've shared this in a more a broad way of looking at it when thinking of like restaurants. Share with the folks what the example you've given me.
Well, I had this question posed to me by my coach, Mr. Todd, and it makes sense. So I can't take the credit for it, but he positioned this question about 6 weeks ago, and it really resonated and it had me thinking. So the question is, if you owned a hamburger joint, what kind of customer are you trying to attract? And so
just think about that out there. If you own a hamburger restaurant, you're out there listening, what kind of customer are you trying to attract?
And I took a couple minutes because with him,
there's something deeper.
Yeah, there's always an answer that's always wrong. And so I said, well, you want a hungry customer. Somebody's going to come in and eat your food, eat your hamburger, right? And I got the X, Family Feud, that strike.
Because the answer wasn't
hungry. Mm-mm.
What
his answer was, and this is so true. He says a hungry customer could bypass your restaurant, just go across the street to Salad and Go and get a salad and satisfy his hunger and move on.
That's
and you
right.
missed him. He says you want a starving customer, somebody that's craving a hamburger. Right. And all the other things you have.
And that's where your message has to go to them. And think about that. As agents, I think we do too much of we're marketing to a person who's hungry. It's just plain marketing, like, hey, I'm here when you need to sell a house. Just let me know. I'm always available. It's just like this passive, if you're going to sell a house, use me. But it doesn't speak to any pain point. It doesn't speak to that person who's sitting there going, I just got a job and I have to be there in 2 weeks. And I don't want my family having to wait here while it takes 2-3 months to sell the house. I want them to come with me, but how are we going to do that?
Right.
Well, you speak to them in that position, like with a product, like a cash offers, that sell your house in as little as 2 weeks, skip all the hassle of showings, fix-ups, appraisals, right?
And that speaks to them. Another application is moving out of state. Mm-hmm. There's always a home on the backside. What is the most fear-based in that? Is owning 2 homes, having 2 mortgage payments, right?
With 2 places.
Yeah, and being in that position. And a cash offer eliminates that fear. The offer has to be at value. They don't want to take, 50, 60, 70,000. They want an offer that's going to be close to market value, but it eliminates the fear. I have this going on right now, and we just helped out a client down in Maricopa, Jason. They're moving to Montana. They were so fearful that when they called us, they went through another company. It didn't happen, but so fearful that they're getting stuck with 2 payments.
That their timeline's getting crunched now.
And he says, we have quit our jobs. We have moved, turning off utilities. We got that place half packed up, and the offer company they had, they pulled out. So long story short, we helped them with an offer, and we were able to get them transition. But it was the message moving out of state. It resonated with them, because if we would have maybe just put out a generic ad, that made it just skimmed right over them.
Yeah, if you want to sell your house, sell with the Carol Royce team.
Or get a cash offer. We'll give you a cash offer.
Right. Even that's just too bland.
And it's too bland. We have multiple cash offers. It doesn't speak. But as soon as we put in there, if you're moving out of state and have a home to sell, don't have two mortgage payments.
Don't get stuck with two loans.
There you go. And voila, here they are.
Yep.
They show up, and now it's doing what we say and fulfilling it.
So in that case, here you have the homeowner, all the noise of all the different things in Phoenix. There's so many home companies for whether it's cash or we can sell your home or whatever. But what message they heard was the message that applied to them. I'm moving out of state. You said, if you're moving out of state, their next thing was fear of having two mortgage, and you don't want to have two loans. They are talking directly to me, and the phone will ring.
Yes.
I think as agents, though, we don't have limitless amounts of money for marketing. And so we want to make sure that whatever message we put in there is going to be the most effective. And we have this belief that the most effective message is going to be the one that applies to the most number of people.
Broad, right?
Yes.
It's like, I'm going to say this and it's going to apply to everybody.
Yep. And when that happens, you sound like every other person out there, everybody else.
And you're missing the starving client.
And the starving client's the one who's ready to hire you and transact right now.
100%.
The hungry one might drive right by you. The hungry might come in, look around, and leave. But the one that's starving for a burger, the one that's got that pain point, the one who's you build your new home without a contingency.
Right.
They hear that, I want to build a new home. I have to sell my home. I have a contingency. Wait a minute. You can help me if I need to build a home and I don't want a contingency.
You solve the problem.
Immediately it speaks to that person. They'll respond.
And in a broad message, you might be just pitching somebody just got through eating lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Never think of that, right? So that's why we're very on target about this, very pinpointed, because it matters in the type of message you put out there. In a divorce or a separation, as unfortunate it is, people are trying to get away, but they have what's stuck, what's keeping them bound is the home. And generally one or the other or both are looking to move on. And when you can provide an offer that takes that pinch point away or that pain away, it's amazing how it speaks to them in a divorce, going through a divorce.
Yeah.
So
Tim, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. You write a lot of great radio ads, a lot of great messaging for your real estate team. Take us through the process that you go through. What's your mental steps that you go through when you're crafting a message and trying to identify who am I talking to?
Yes, that's a great question. Jacob, our producer over here, he's my radio guy, and I think I drive him absolutely nuts, don't I, Jacob? Because we're always trying to figure out, but let me start by saying this. When you have the right message to the market, it produces instantly. Mm-hmm. There is no guessing. There's no, it's like as soon as you turn on a water faucet, the water flows.
And how have you seen that change?
Messaging over time, as people have certain offers, people have cash offers available. There's noise out there, right? In a certain product or offering, it changes drastically. Because we've said this, the cash offer position is more of a commodity, right?
Mm-hmm. When you think of how many are out there, it's a commodity.
Let's just we're factual here. Mm-hmm. So what I noticed is the message had become over time less, powerful, less producing.
Yeah, less poignant. It wasn't resonating as much.
It wasn't resonating.
It starts to become noise, whereas before it stood out. Like your home sold or I'll buy it. Let's say something like that. That used to be something that was like, oh my goodness, that's there's certainty in that, and I'll go with that. Yeah. But when the phone stops ringing, it's like back in the short sale days. Our phone would ring all the time. Our message was all around short sales, and then the phone stopped ringing. Well, our messaging was around short sales, and there were no more short sales. If we're not talking to the market of the moment, you're going to miss it. And so if we start talking, as you've said, about cash offers, but you have to talk to the pain point of that cash offer, how it's going to get done. the phone will ring.
And there's certain things with cash offers because there are companies that will give lowball cash offers or they won't fulfill the offer.
They're wholesalers.
They cancel.
They're going to flip the paper. They're not ever really serious. Yeah.
So the consumer gets educated very quick. Either they've been through it once or their family and friends or somebody they hear. It's like, yeah, I don't pay attention to those texts or I don't pay attention to those calls because they're not real.
Mm-hmm.
And then we come along and it's very real and very fulfilling and it's very powerful. But that's some of the noise we have to fight through, right, Jason? Is because there's some of that out there. But when you can deliver it and you can get the testimonial and other people say that it's true and it's so and it happens and it happened this way, along with the proper messaging, there's nothing better than when you nail it.
Yeah, correct.
And when you nail it, it's unbelievable. The
results. Did you nail it the first time?
No. This is, you learn quick when you're spending massive amounts of money on radio. It's costly and it takes time, but we have nailed it over the course of time. But the messaging will go through a course and then it just produces what it produces. And then it tends to fall off, right? Because something better comes on, a different offer, something of value. And that's always going to be the case when we're dealing with the consumer. They're going to react. I don't think like when the taxi cab got disrupted by Uber, right? That Uber would ever be disrupted. And what are we seeing now? We're seeing
Waymo and driverless cars.
We're seeing driverless car, and there's not an Uber. And I think eventually Uber's going to have to adjust to that.
They're going to have to get a fleet of driverless cars.
Yeah, because people don't want to. I know how it is. People don't want to talk to the driver. Who likes to sit in the front seat of an Uber car? It's with my family. It's a race to who can get in the back seat.
In the back seat.
Yeah. Right. But that's some of the things that we're talking about. So anyways, but when you do hit the offer and you're able to fulfill it and you can do it at a very high purpose rate and then you leverage off of that and you can get the testimonials and the other people say it. So it's the most powerful thing in real estate or any kind of business going forward. To launch your business. There's a difference between in real estate. I think a lot of people try to chase people in our business. We see it. Mm-hmm. Agents are starving. They're looking for their next deal. They know they got a mortgage payment up. They're going to work like, who am I going to call today? How am I going to produce something right? They're always, the wheels are always spinning like, okay, who am I going to have a great day and get lucky and run into somebody?
Right.
Is that going to happen? Is that day going to be today? Or the fear is it's going to be maybe a week from now, or 2 weeks from now, or 3 weeks, right? And that's the problems that agents go through. But what if you were the person that people were just calling you, hunting you down, beating your phone up, saying, hey, I need to talk to you about selling my home?
And that's what everybody wants. In order to make that happen, you have to construct an offer. You have to have this MOFR. You need to make an offer for immediate response. Having those testimonials, having the product, program, and service behind you. Those are the things that allow you to close the deal. What will make the phone ring, though, is speaking specifically to a person's pain point. That if your program is for buyers and you're able to help buyers get to the front of the line and through multiple offers, right? If it's a multiple offer situation, you can turn them into a cash buyer. There's programs out there. You can take your buyer and make them a cash buyer. That becomes your offer where you're speaking. You losing out on multiple offers to cash, buy with my cash. That becomes an offer that someone says, well, how do I get that? The offer for cash offers, all the ones that we've talked about here that include no showings, no repairs, convenience, pick your closing date. All of those are separate offers. You don't need to bundle them all into one thing. You can have each one of those be a separate offer. We need to do more of that as an industry to speak to those people who are going to hear us through the noise. And when you do, the phone is absolutely going to ring.
People are chasing you down. You're not chasing them. And that's a beautiful thing in a business. It's a business worth having. And you can build upon that. And you can reverse engineer a business down. So you can have a vision, and that's what's nice, off of a MOFR and a marketing plan with lead generation. And it can be as big as you want it to be.
That's right.
And you can grow it as big as you want it to be.
You just have to go small to go big. Narrow your focus on your message. Go small to go big with the MOFR.
Hey, Jason, this has been a great time. I'll let you take us out of the podcast, but next week, definitely we're on every week, right?
That's right. You can catch us always here on any of your favorite podcast listening stations, and we sound better than that. On any of the podcast listening stations that are out there, whether it's iHeart, whether it's Spotify, Apple, and on YouTube as well. You can catch us, and then you can look at our mugs. Check us out. This is the Real Estate Consumer Shift. Until next time, everybody out there, think different.
Have a good day.